Welcome to Bark and Borrow. I'm Jacqueline Pate, and I'm joined by my partner in pet care lending, Claire Cronin. We're the pet care experts at Live Oak Bank, and we're here to help you navigate the business side of the pet industry. Whether you're looking to purchase your first location, scale your boarding capacity, or get the capital to acquire an existing facility, we've got you covered. We know that running a pet resort isn't all puppy cuddles. It's P&Ls, payroll, and a whole lot of grit. So we're peeling back the layers of the financing process to help you grow. If you're ready to start building your empire, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
Today we're talking about something that can make a huge difference for business owners at every stage of growth. Access to capital, specifically through SBA small loans. We're especially excited because today's guest is someone we work with every day. Many of you know Brandy Keck as the fearless leader of Live Oak Bank veterinary and pet care team. But that is one of the many hats she wears. She also oversees Live Oak Express, helping entrepreneurs across the country access fast, flexible SBA small loans.
Brandy works with hundreds of business owners every year and has a front row seat to what makes borrowers successful. Today, she'll help us break down what Live Oak Express is, when these loans make sense, and answer some of the questions we hear most often from pet care facility owners. Brandy, welcome to Bark and Borrow.
So good to be here.
So Brandy, tell us a little about yourself and your role here at Live Oak Bank.
Sure. My official title is Managing Director of Small Business Banking, but I don't think that actually tells you anything of what the job actually is. So we've got business units here. I head up a couple different business units. One is the one that I think people are more familiar of my world, which is what we call SBB1. That is lending to dentists, physicians, veterinarians, pet care facility owners, and independent pharmacists across the country. So we've got a team of lenders across the country, like you guys, that are lending in specific industries. The other part of my world is the Live Oak Express division, which is what we're here to talk about today. And that is the small loan division of the bank that will get much more detail coming forward.
You've worn lots of hats over the years. Tell us how your career has evolved.
So this was not the plan at all. I was a mass media major and very much wanted to be a sideline reporter. So I was DJing at local radio stations. I was a local sports writer, then got into professional sports working for the Cleveland Cavaliers. None of that is what I do now. When LeBron took his talents to South Beach, I took mine to a different bank and got into dental medical vet lending in 2009. So since that time, I've kind of played in this world. And then got to Live Oak about a decade ago and have had several roles here. This one probably being the most fun, get to work with you guys every day, and then also just the quality of humans that we get to work with each and every day, especially with an industry like pet care facilities. It's been a very cool, interesting journey and an awesome evolution.
So Brandy, let's start with the basics.
Sure.
Let us know what Live Oak Express is.
Live Oak started around 2008. From that time, we've done what would be considered large loans. The average loan size for Live Oak Bank is around $1.4 million across the board. The Express division was the answer to getting capital in the hands of small business owners fast and at the lower dollar amounts that they likely oftentimes need that we weren't supporting before. So Express division for the bank is lending to small business owners from $10,000 to about $350,000 needed in capital.
So why was the Live Oak Express program created, and who were these loans designed for?
Yeah, so it was created to really be able to help small business owners at different stages of their needs, not just the larger projects, the larger acquisitions. Live Oak Bank has about 40 different verticals that we lend to that we go really deep into, like the pet care facility space, self-storage, dentists, pharmacists, chicken farms. With the Express product, it's industry agnostic. So we lend to a ton of industries across the board. It was really designed for small business owners throughout the country that need capital and need capital fast.
So Brandy, what types of businesses are a good fit for Live Oak Express?
Yeah, so for the most part, we say 2 years in business is what we want to see. The nice thing is there's some industries that we've lent to for a long time and we have a different comfort level, and pet care facilities is one of them. So we actually do startups in this space as well. But for the most part, you want a borrower that has a couple years in business, FICO score of about 680 or above, which we can hit more on FICO if everybody wants to know some nitty-gritty details on it. No bankruptcies. You have to have the appropriate cash flow, and I don't know that a lot of business owners know that on the front end, so just kind of go through the process, and we'll tell you whether the cash flow supports the request. A clean track record. You know, want to make sure that there's no crazy bumps on the personal side or on the business side. But overall, a business that's looking for capital, that's who we want to talk to.
What makes the process different from traditional SBA lending?
Oh, that's kind of one of the cooler parts of this. So on the traditional side, what you guys are doing with, someone comes to you for a ground-up construction project, they're typically spending a couple days going through pre-approval process with you, and then a couple weeks in underwriting, and now you're heading into closing, and depending on timeline, 30, 60, 90 days after that. The Express product is designed for speed. So typically, if the borrowers are willing to submit the financials that they need to on the front end, decision is within about 48 hours of when they apply with us. And then funding, depending on the type of request, can be as short as a couple weeks, maybe a little bit longer than that, depending on the request. But everything happens very fast, and it's a truncated process. You're not filling out as many documents. You don't have to submit as many financials. So across the board, it's a smoother, faster, easier process than the traditional side.
So what is the biggest advantage for borrowers?
Yeah, I think there's quite a few advantages. One is the speed, like we just talked about, getting the capital quickly, but it's also the way the loan is structured. So the fees are significantly lower than they would be on a traditional side, or even with a lot of conventional options that are out there. It's a 10-year term. So from a cash flow perspective, this really works out nicely for the borrowers. There's no prepayment penalties. So if the business starts to take off right away and they want to pay it down or off the loan within a few days, months, years, they can. There's just a lot of flexibility with this product, and the availability of it also makes it pretty awesome.
I love the term aspect of it. Spreading it out 10 years. Cash flow is so important in
sure.
most every industry, right? But especially this industry, that's one thing we're always harping on.
Definitely.
And a lot of the smaller loan opportunities out there for customers can sometimes really hurt their cash flow with shorter terms. So I think that's a huge thing for our customers. We always talk to customers about smart money versus fast money.
That's one of my favorite things you guys have said.
Yeah, but it's true. It's a big thing to think about. A lot of times customers think they have this need and they need it right then. And that's, again, another reason why it's so good to be prepared and have these conversations early, because there are some opportunities out there that can just kill your cash flow.
For sure.
So, Brandy, you've talked about the difference in timeline, right, from our Express program and then our traditional SBA lending program. Yeah. How do customers find out what they're a fit for? What's the right fit for them?
They can always call you guys. So first line, get a hold of your lender. I think that's really helpful to figure this out. But if you're a borrower that's just going online trying to figure it out, it's truly by loan size first and foremost. So if the loan size is $350,000 or under, that is our Express product. That is the direction you're going. If you're not sure, if you're thinking about doing a project and not sure how much you're going to need in equipment, working capital, how many kennels you're actually putting in there, things along those lines, go in for either type of loan. Live Oak is here to be the guide to that and figure out where you fit best within this bank and get you in the right product.
So I guess the question a lot of people are going to ask, if they start with an Express loan, are they able to transition into those bigger loans that like Jacqueline and I both do?
Yeah, that's the exciting part. That's the fun part when we get to be on the journey and get to be a part of multiple expansions or where the business wants to go or grow. So it is a bit of a feeder system, kind of both directions. There's a lot of borrowers that come to us that start with an Express product. Maybe they want to add new turf to their facility. And then they start to blow it out, and a few years later they want to do an expansion, a big $5 million ground-up construction project. Now you're heading into traditional. Conversely, it happens the other way as well. So we've got borrowers, of them, where they're in their facility today. Yeah. They've been in a leasehold situation. They just need to renovate the play area, things along those lines. They're looking for a smaller loan. They've been on our books, and they come back for the Express loan. So it goes both directions, absolutely.
So also kind of leading off of that, whenever, how much of a timeline does there have to be? Like, can they have an Express loan? What is the timeline on, being able to do both those loans?
Yeah, the very technical answer is 90 days in between those loans. But that's going to be a little bit tough, right? Like this has to work from a cash flow perspective. So is 90 days going to give you enough time to actually generate additional revenue to make the next thing cash flow? But you can look to do these things in very short order. Okay. You may have a project that you took on, and then within a year, this thing takes off significantly more than what your intent was on the front end, and now you want to put a dang pool in the backyard for the dogs, which I love every facility that does this. You can come back and do that sooner as well.
I just love that we have options for customers no matter what the need is, right? Whether that's a $50,000, like you said, turf upfit or that ground-up construction project. We can kind of help you throughout that whole process.
Yeah, I feel like this has been years in the making for the bank, right? There was an area where we weren't serving our customers. Mm-hmm. There was this hole where borrowers needed capital that we weren't really able to fill for a long time. And I'm really proud to get to work with the Express team as well and what's being built out on that side, because we are making a difference for our customers and new customers coming in.
So when should someone reach out to a lender, even if they're not really sure which loan might fit?
They should reach out now. They should have reached out yesterday. There is no time too soon. There's no dumb question to be asked of the team to try to figure out what you should be doing. If you're working with a good lender, which I believe we have really, really good lenders here, especially the ones in the room, should be asking questions to the borrowers ahead of time. And if the borrower is reaching out or just thinking about some things, you give them some guidance, right? You tell them that they are ready for this now. You're not going to be ready for a year. You could be ready for it in 6 months if you do X, Y, and Z. You want some people in your corner to help you grow this business and do it responsibly. I think that's one of the best things about Live Oak and one of the things that I'm proud about of being here. We have very, very, very low default rates. Our obligation is to make sure that the borrower and the bank is protected. And we do that day in and day out. And that is from having very strongly educated lenders that help guide that process and help you figure out as a business owner when you should be taking on more debt.
So what's your advice to owners who think that they're too small to have these conversations?
Jacqueline used the word for your intro of grit. And I think that is one of the coolest things about this job.
Yes.
We are working with small business owners throughout the country that just have this level of grit to do this. I couldn't do it. I couldn't own a small business, but I freaking love helping them. There is no too small. Dream big.
Yeah.
If it's the wrong time, work with a bank that's going to tell you it's the wrong time, but have the conversation and start to figure out. I mean, luckily in this industry, in pet care facilities, we do startups. So there is no such thing as too small. You're starting from
Correct.
a dream and figure it out. If you're a pet care facility that's been doing this out of your home and then deciding you want to take this to the next level and have a leasehold facility, and the big dream is 5-10 years from now you want to have this Taj Mahal of a location, cool, let's figure that out. Let's work backwards on this thing and figure out the right timeline for that.
Correct. And I love the way that, when we talk in the front end, we talk about the crawl, walk, run as well. And I think that's really important to have those conversations. I know we have them all the time, but just you reiterating that, I think, makes it super cool.
Yeah, the only point that I think has to keep being driven home is work with lenders who know your industry.
Correct.
I'm not saying you have to work with Live Oak, not for express loans, not for the traditional side, but I do think you need to have some people in your corner who understand your business inside and out and can help you determine whether you should be at the
Correct.
crawl, walk, run, sprint stage.
Yeah, I agree.
And to build that partnership and trust, right? Partnership and trust to where you have someone that's empowering you, but also not encouraging you to make silly mistakes or silly decisions
Absolutely.
when you're not ready, right? So we have had conversations sometimes where customers might not be ready for that, but we don't want to end right there. We also try to educate them on how to get ready.
Yep.
I mean, I've heard you guys both at trade shows and in front of people on the phone. It's a no and.
Yes.
It's not a no and it's over.
Correct.
It's an and. Let's figure out how we get you there. And if you do X, Y, and Z, you're in a position to be able to do this down the line. Mm-hmm. That's a lender who is in good favor with you at all times.
Correct. Absolutely.
And we always talk about being a resource, and I think that also is huge in our industry, is we're there if they have a question. And as we all say, there's no silly questions for anything. Again, I don't know a lot of things, but what I do,
Claire, you know a lot of things.
So let's talk about how the pet care industry specifically can benefit from the Live Oak Express program. What are some common uses that you see pet care facility owners using this Express program for?
Kennels. Turf, I think, is a huge one. I think it's a bigger expense than a lot of people are thinking on the front end. Or they did it 10 years ago, and it's a little bit more expensive these days. So those are a couple big ones. Renovations, just sprucing up the place. There are facilities that have been primarily boarding, and now they want to add grooming, so they're adding the tubs and everything else in the facility. Staff, so you've gotten a place where you need to add more people, and you're not totally there yet from a cash on hand perspective, not necessarily cash flow, but cash on hand perspective. Use those working capital funds to be able to staff up. There are a ton of different applications within the pet care space, and the industry has really taken off in the last few years. I mean, especially right before COVID, it's like 2019 on. And the ask from pet parents has changed quite a bit. These facilities need to be souped up a little bit more, right? They've got to have a nice look to them. It's even a renovation to the lobby, make that more appealing to clients. we've seen these funds used kind of across the board.
Awesome. One other one that sticks out to mind too is, we see facilities of all different sizes, right? So especially if it's a leasehold facility, if real estate's not involved, sometimes the opportunity to acquire a facility is going to be in that range of $350 and below. So we've done some with acquisitions as well.
Yeah, for sure. Acquisitions is completely on the table, and that's a nice way to get the deal done quickly and have a leg up. If there are multiple buyers going for the same acquisition, if you can say you can get that loan done inside of a month, that's a good way to win the deal.
Speed is weapon for sure.
What about real estate?
So, great segue, Claire. Right now, the Express product that we've been talking about does not include real estate. So it's at $350 and under, no real estate involved. We are launching a new product that will allow for real estate and take us up a little bit in dollar amount. So that takes us up to $500,000.
Nice.
So that will then allow you a shorter timeline, less in fees, actually a longer term. So you still stick with a 25-year term like it is on the traditional side if there's real estate involved. Yeah. But that product is also filling a gap that's out there, and I'm really excited to have that launch.
We are so excited for that too.
Yeah, tell me about it.
This is awesome. Can you think of any other uses?
Yeah, the one that comes to mind quickly would be vehicles. So there's a lot of pet care facilities that are getting into transportation or mobile grooming and things along those lines. That's a great use for this product. And the other one would be, we kind of hit on this with renovations, but you need a new HVAC system, you need a new roof, the things that would just really help this facility operate more efficiently. That's a good use. And then the last thing I would say is just having the term loan, having that working capital. So if you're anticipating some things are going to happen within your facility within the next year, might be really great to start that process now and have those funds available or have the approval out there for you.
Refis are another really good one that we've seen.
Yes, for sure, a really great one to use. I would say the only caveat to that is we will not and cannot refi MCA debt, which is merchant cash advances. That's not a good opportunity for capital to begin with, and it's putting the borrower in a bad position. So we can't help on that side, but that also hopefully leads us to educating the market that there are other options out there. Outside of MCA debt, refis can be a fantastic use for this product.
So Brandy, we're at the point now of preparing a borrower. What is the next steps that they need to do in order to start an application?
Pretty simple. They're going to send us a few financials, so there's some documents to have filled out and completed. It's a truncated process from what our traditional side is. But as far as making a good borrower, a good candidate for this, kind of hit it on the front end, but 680 FICO, cash flow being there, no bankruptcies, no major red flags with the business or anything majorly personally showing up. And it needs to be the type of business that we can do. So there are some exclusions of businesses that we can't do or aren't touching at this time, or it's a not yet. But to me, that's a conversation with your lender and figure out whether it's the right business or not.
Okay, great. So what information should owners have ready when they contact us?
They can have the conversation with you without having anything ready. I think that's a good starting point, right? You can have a conversation without having all of your ducks in a row. But it's going to be a few years of tax returns, personal financial statement, debt schedule if it's an existing business, interim financials, P&L, and balance sheet. There's not much more to it on the front end to get this thing rolling. So it's a pretty short list.
So what are the misconceptions of SBA lending that people kind of have in their head and focus on?
Probably like a million of them. A couple that would come to mind quickly is that there's no opportunities for startups. Not true in the pet care facility space, so you guys are doing startups every day. It's really cool to bet on a business from day one on a hope and a dream. So that's a part of it, that there's no opportunities in that space. That it is a long, awful, horrible process, and we know this world really well. I'm incredibly biased, but I think we're the best at working on SBA loans, and we take you through the process as smoothly as possible. Another misconception would be that it's not on favorable terms, that this isn't something that's advantageous to the borrower themselves, and it's actually a fantastic product for borrowers. We're talking about express loans that are 10 years,
Correct.
Fully amortized, no prepayment penalties. So there's really solid terms for these loans as well.
So what's one mistake that applicants commonly make?
Hiding the skeletons. So we're going to find out about your bankruptcy. We're going to find out about your criminal record years ago. There's no hiding it. This is a government-backed loan. It's not just the credit report on the front end. There are multiple steps that we must take as prudent lenders to ensure that everything that you put on that application was true and accurate. So don't lie, don't hide it. Bankruptcies fall off your credit bureau in 7 years. They don't fall off the face of the earth. You actually still did file bankruptcy, even if it was 25 years ago. And when the question asks, have you ever filed bankruptcy? I don't care what year it was. You did.
Yes.
So just be honest from day one. It makes it much better for your lender to work with you as well. Maybe there's a story behind there. Maybe there's something we can do or talk about, or we can get you with a different lender that maybe can help. But lying about it or not being completely truthful on the application will burn you every time.
And it becomes, you don't want to waste people's time, right? We like to have those conversations up front. Tell us everything, because we can be honest and transparent if we think it's something that we could potentially get comfortable with, or to your point, if we want to recommend you to someone else, or if it's a hard no right then and there. Like, we don't want to waste the customer's time either.
For sure, and I've heard you both do that before. We are advocates for our clients, and getting to an answer, the real answer, as quickly as possible is the best justice we can do to a customer.
Agreed.
The other one, you only asked me for one, but the other one would be when the borrower needs to move very quickly, right? They need the cash right away for some reason, but refuse to send us the application package, the full application package, or they'll send us 2 years of tax returns but refuse to send the interim statement because there's something on there that looks funky or they're worried about. You're just delaying the overall process, and we can't go anywhere. We are at a standstill until we have the application package and the documents that were set out to you on the front end. So if you are in a time crunch as the borrower, get those documents in, let's deal with whatever's happening with the financials, and then move forward as quickly as possible.
And we also see that on our end as well, as, we also know the industry, so there may have been something that happened that they think we don't understand.
Dog flu.
Correct. Yep. Very real thing. And then I think some areas have been impacted by weather. Like, weather has been a real thing, I feel, this year. Like, they've been snowed in and people just are not leaving their houses, so their daycare revenue's down as well. So, like, it's understanding those things. And I think the more we talk to our customers, the more they truly understand that we do listen and we do watch what's out there. And
well, we also, along those lines, have hundreds of pet care facility borrowers on our portfolio. We're pretty educated on what's happening in the industry, so we can help make decisions based off of trends or what's happening, like weather in certain areas, influenza that happens that shut down facilities. We know, and we can help as long as we understand what problems are out there.
Absolutely.
We like to do this fun segment at the end. Think rapid fire questions, lightning round. We call it the Bark Blitz.
Ooh, I like it.
So first thing that comes to your mind, 1 or 2 worded answers.
Okay.
You ready?
Ready.
Okay.
Favorite part of your job?
Working with you two.
If you didn't work at Live Oak, what would be your dream job?
Sports reporter. Aaron Andrews has my job.
Favorite breed of dog?
Deke would murder me if I didn't say Labrador. So a 100-pound, big, fat, beefy red lab is my favorite.
One piece of advice for every entrepreneur.
Oh, that little voice in your head that you can't ignore that's telling you need to do something, go do it. Find the dream and go after it.
If listeners remember one thing from today's episode, what should it be?
Selfishly, because I'm involved with both teams, Live Oak Express. There are major options now available. Loan amounts $10,000 to $350,000. Get a hold of your lender. Make the move.
Brandy, thank you so much for joining us today. I really think this conversation highlights that financing doesn't always have to mean a massive expansion project. Sometimes it's the smaller investments that help businesses take their next big step. For anyone listening who's wondering whether an SBA small loan might be the right fit, we'd love to have that conversation. Whether you're just exploring ideas or ready to move forward, we're always happy to help and understand your options. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Bark and Borrow. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share this episode with another pet care business owner. We'll see you next time.